Sorry, Kel. I don't know what I forget how to turn the volume off on the on the Facebook. So let's try it again. I need to set it up. I'll still remember. Mm. Okay. Hey guys, I'm sorry about my struggle bus. I forgot how to turn the volume off on Facebook so that it didn't record on Zoom, and it's a whole thing, so I apologize. Hopefully that we're recording now. And this interview is our monthly interview with one of our tribe members to start. And this is with Kelly Gertsch, and it's about her journey with us and where she's been. And I think she had a trainer or two before us, and she got lots of great skills from them, but there was just something else that was missing. She was having reactivity, and she found us. So we want to bring her on. Come on, Kelly, whenever you're ready. Thank you for being so patient with my technical skills, which are not very good.
No worries. That's how mine are.
Yay.
And I've been everybody.
What's that?
I said, how's everybody doing?
Yeah, are we on Facebook Live? I'm going to pull it up on my phone. I know Alex said I was live, so everybody's watching me struggle on that, so that was fun. So please tell us what brought you to Everyday Canine. And I know I said reactivity, so I was a spoiler alert, but it's something close to my heart because that's what we're all here. That's where I was struggling. So tell us how you came to find us. And I think you had a trainer or two before us, right?
Mm-hmm. We got Charlie. She was like 14 weeks old, but we knew we wanted to start her early with training. So early on, we had a trainer. He's with a professional business. And it was good. We only did like a package of sessions, and our main purpose, she was a little bit older puppy. I think she was like maybe 5 months old, and we wanted her e-collar and off leash thinking. And so we just had some basic lessons like that. And that was fine. And it wasn't until we had issues was when Cooper came into the picture. Things were good. So we got Cooper, and we got Charlie in March, Cooper in September of the same year. But at that time, they were both the same age, around 8 months old. So I had two 8-month-old puppies. And things were fine, but they bonded. And that's when I was doing all the things. I was doing all the things of my philosophy back then was they were young dogs, they were puppies, and they needed to get their energy out.
Yeah, been there, done that. Yeah.
So everything I did was based on that. And what you all say is what you allow is what you train.
Yeah, God loves that one. That's his favorite line.
That was a big one, because now being reflective and looking back, I'm walking Charlie and Cooper and their puppies, and they're biting on the leashes, and then they start to, on a nice walk, they start to just randomly want to wrestle each other. And I'm giggling, thinking it's cute and fun and this and that, and I'm training what I'm allowing.
Right. And it is cute and it is fun until it's not. It really
Exactly.
is. It is cute and it stinks because it's always the things that you really like the most. That's just like, oh, so sometimes it's like making a decision, giving up something or not.
Well, I think it is. And I also did a lot of dog parks when she was young. I did a lot of on-leash greetings. She went to a doggy daycare that was too many dogs all together with very little supervision. And she was just overwhelmed by it. I was under the, I thought all dogs got along and, the more dogs, the more fun, the better off they were. And she didn't like that. And I realized
She didn't like that. I thought that too. I thought that too.
So we did, she developed some leash reactivity. And so we started to get the barking and the lunging on the walks, and Cooper would whine, when a dog would come up, and then she would react. So then I took her to the dog training club of the St. Pete Dog Training. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did a basic obedience. She was fantastic in the class, right?
Yeah.
She can do all the things.
In the four walls.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's crazy in that building. It can get chaotic. So that is a big deal to have that. And I want to put in here while you're telling the story is when I met you, your dog's like obedience, impeccable.
Oh, thank you.
You learned a lot. You had a great recall. Like I really loved watching all the stuff, all the hard work that you have done. So I enjoyed giving you like that piece that was missing, that I was the same piece I was missing.
Yeah, and that was huge. But she did react. So when we were in the club in that environment, she was great in the ring, and doing the things. But when I took her out to potty, how they recommend you go out to the back of the building to have your dog go to the bathroom, and then you come in. So we would have to pass dogs close.
That long line of chairs.
She would have a major reaction, and everybody stared at me like, oh, maybe you shouldn't be here, kind of thing. And it was it was awkward and embarrassing. So from there, then we found another trainer that would meet us at dog parks and things. So she did a lot of work with us with more distractions and those kind of things, being out in those environments. But it still wasn't what I needed, and I wasn't clicking with anything. It wasn't like setting in for me.
Yeah.
So, I really wanted something where she could be around more dogs, more well socialized dogs. I was starting to learn that,
what socialization is.
Yeah, I had no clue.
Me neither. I didn't understand that for a long time.
I had no clue about the word neutrality and how important that is, because Charlie and Cooper totally lacked impulse control and that neutrality piece. They had obedience and I would do things with them, but they were bonded to each other. And when we got out in the real world, they could care less, and they wanted to hunt and do what they wanted to do. They wanted to wrestle each other and just be crazy dogs.
Funny how that comes back, right? Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
So it's cute until it's not. And it's, trust me, I live with little things with Gates and Melina. They're almost 14. And it's like, oh yeah. I thought this was cute when you were like 2, 5, 8, still cute around 8. Then it's like 15 years later, it's like, I'm coming. I'm coming. It's cute. It's still cute. But at the same time, she's like, because dementia, they're like, look, this is the way we've lived. Get on it. Get on it. So there's no learning how to, your kitty's behind you. It's so cute.
Yeah. I have animals everywhere.
Yay. Oh, now that's not Chipper.
No, that's the sly, sneaky, all black cat. Yeah.
Mr. Champ.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I got that name right. Yeah. It's interesting to think because it is embarrassing. It's very embarrassing and a little overwhelming. And then the anxiety sets in when the reality of, man, I have a dog that's out of control on my hands.
Yeah.
And like, I don't really want to take her out in public or him, mine was him. So it was like, or I want to take her out in public, but it's a disaster. It's a disaster. So it's embarrassing, or I don't want to put that on other people. It was a whole thing. And
Hmm.
and I love that this is a real good point that you had your obedience down. You
Yeah.
learned the obedience, you learned all the things. You even got private lessons. It was, you know what I mean? You had e-collar training, you were doing stuff. It all came down to the home life and the everyday little teeny little things. Yeah,
Absolutely.
for
So,
me.
yeah. And I just happened to find you because a guy that rides his bike all over Pinellas County, we were all talking, a bunch of us in the neighborhood, and I was talking about Charlie and how I wanted her around more dogs that were better socialized. And he said, "Oh, there's a group that meets at Riviera. I see them all the time." And I was like, "Really?"
Yeah.
So I went to the park and I saw you, and then I think I texted you or called you, and that's how I
Was he
found
talking
you.
about me, or was he talking about that group that does off leash like in the neighborhood over there? Because that's
No,
happened to us too. I wasn't sure if that was you, to where
no,
they told
he's
him about us, and they went over and found that big group, and they were just running wild, and they thought that was our group. I was like, I don't know if that was you guys or not. That would have been funny. Yeah.
no,
Oh, neat. I didn't know how you found us. I don't think I ever remembered that.
yeah, yeah.
Neat.
I went and it was like a Saturday morning and I saw you guys and I walked around and just was like watching. But you were doing a dog class
Did
and
you have your dog with you? Did you have Charlie or Cooper?
I probably had them both. But I
Probably had
did a
a
far
loopy loop.
perimeter, but I was like spying. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that back when we were doing like small private groups? It was like
You
only 3 or 4. Or was that we already have a big class going on?
No, there's probably like 4 to 5, and you had some obstacles, you had like some things out and people were working with their dogs.
Yeah, that's neat because
Yeah.
we went through stages. We always did the group. We've done the group on Saturdays for like 8 years. Um, but there was a point where I was trying to get it from board and trains and private lessons into like full blown group classes. And that took a big kind of, work in the thing. So I started doing like semi private classes. You could come out between
Mhm.
this hour and have like 3 or 4 people, and then they'd leave, and 3 or 4 more people would come in. That's probably when you came, right before you came or around. Yeah. Cause you came right after Kristen. I think when
Yeah.
she came, I was still in that groove, and
Mhm.
then it became summer, and I smushed everybody together like Saturdays used to be, and everybody loved it. And I was like, "You're kidding me, right? You want me to be out here for 1 or 2 hours instead of like 5 hours? No problem, no problem. You love working together." Like, this is the same class that I've been running for 8 years, no problem. But I didn't have enough people to do it, and everybody didn't have their crap together. So I needed to get some people with some stuff so we could have the group classes. Neat. I didn't know it was a guy riding their bike. Those are my favorite types, people that
Yeah.
see us
So
organically.
random.
Yeah, neat, neat. It's I think one of my favorite things about your story is um Cooper. Right? We came in for Charlie. Charlie was reactive, and we were working on Charlie. And then I'm like, bring Cooper because he's part of this mix, and let's see what's going on. And bring Cooper. And Stacy would bring Cooper and then as you grew, you might bring both of them and have a kennel. And we got into all that stuff. But
Mhm.
um, And I remember telling you in the beginning, like, keep an eye on that one. That one's where all your anxiety is fostered. It's just kind of settling there, and he reminds me of Melina a lot, where he's so good that the pain point isn't as high as Charlie's.
Yeah.
So you don't see the anxiety as plainly because he's not biting. And that was my favorite. And I think it took me quite a while to convince you. I don't remember. Do you remember what it was that was the like deciding factor? I know you believe me, but you're still kind of, where you're like, let me think about this.
No, it's hard to see in him because
Hard.
I can trust him in more situations, I feel like, but I think
Mhm.
the pain point with Cooper hit more when we put the dogs in place and we tied them back in a group class and we
Oh,
all
yeah.
walked away, and he's just shaking and whining and just like beside himself.
I
And I
forgot
was
about
like,
that.
wow, like
I
really,
forgot it was
Cooper?
that bad.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm right over here. Like, but he would
Yeah.
like shake and tremble. And it was like, wow.
Yeah, and that's a way, the shaking is a way for them to kind of extinguish that anxiety. So just like when we get a massage and then the person tells you drink a lot of water because you're trying to get all the flush the toxins out, like that's kind of their way of handling whatever the situation is. And so that separate but together exercise that we do really pushes the envelope, and you can see in a public setting, who's got that link that needs a little work, or
Yeah.
could use it. And it's going to help in their senior life, that's for sure, having that calm muscle. Because
Mm-hmm.
your guys, I loved your paddleboard story, I think, the most, where you and Stacy went paddleboarding and you sent me a picture with the dogs tied to the door and they just laid down while you
Yeah.
guys got all the paddle boards, and you're like, no way this was going to happen last year, and I was like, yeah, that's
And
cool.
I mean, Cooper's even at the point where I can leave him like, I don't ever leave him in my classroom by himself because of an emergency situation. But if I need to do something and I don't want to bring him with me at school, I can leave him with my fellow teacher, partner, or another teacher. And he used to, in the very beginning, he'd be a little whiny with them. And now he's fine. Like, so like those are all huge things like that
Yeah.
he
And I like
wouldn't have,
that you mentioned that piece. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
well, he just would have never been able to do that. And, you don't really stop to think about that, like I just feel like, oh, he should be able to do that. But we had a long road to get there for him
Yeah,
to do that.
you're right. And each time, so, as much as Kelly does with Cooper at school and with the kids and with other teachers and stuff, leaving him with another teacher and then going somewhere is a brand new thing. So
Yeah.
it starts all over at kindergarten. So any exercise we do, no matter how good the dog is in any situation, if it's a new situation, it starts from zero again, and you treat it just like zero, and it'll probably climb very fast if you treat it like zero. Like, so it wasn't a big deal if he whined a little bit in the beginning and then he was able to like flush those emotions out and be like, okay, this is just like everything else that we do. It's just in a new place. And then he's just another notch on his board. And the more you do of that, pretty soon you could do that almost anywhere and him be
Mm-hmm.
okay with it. So, man, you've come over some huge hurdles, though. Huge hurdles. Emily says 10 out of 10 for separate but together exercise for sure.
Yes.
Kristen is spying. That's, I thought, the cat probably. Jack says happy holidays. I love it. Oh, it's my favorite to watch what Cooper. So if you don't know Cooper's story, you might have saw some videos on Facebook yesterday or Wednesday of our Great American Teach-In. Kelly's a teacher, and Cooper has not only overcome his separation anxiety that he started. How long have you been in the group? 3 years now?
It'll
Almost
be 3 years in March. Yeah.
in March. Yeah, so almost 3 years. Cooper has become not only a therapy dog, but he goes to school with Kelly every Friday and is a therapy dog for the entire school. So he sits in the car circle while Kelly does the car circle all by himself on his little cot and chills out. And Kelly does her job. And then they go through the day, whether he's with her or she leaves him with somebody or he's visiting with different students, helping them with different things. One of my favorite things is that text you sent me where the kid was trying to read, but he can't sit still. And you told him, Cooper, he needs to be real still so he doesn't hurt Cooper. And he was like, focused on that and petting Cooper. And he was able to like do the activity and sit still with Cooper. I thought that was really interesting that Coop helped with something like that.
Yeah, he does. And he kind of seeks some of those kids out now. So it's kind of special to
Really?
watch him. Yeah. He's starting to he gets better each week. So it's really interesting to watch. Like he's really learning his job and his purpose, I think.
That is so cool. It's so cool. I am excited to see the little thank you letters that we got and share them with everybody from the students. That was really, I'm like crying reading the first one. I only got to read 2 and I'm like, I got to read some more. They're really cute. But we had a great time taking all the dogs and doing obstacle courses with all Kelly's, the whole school. And we did 4 little sessions and the kindergartners, goodness. They were ridiculously cute. Did they? I love it. And they've been asking Kelly who won the races and who won the most races. And I thought that was cool. Even the pictures on the cards were like a drawing of the obstacle course. Did you have to help them with that or they?
No, that was them doing, that was another teacher gave them all to me. So yeah.
Yeah,
they were just that detailed about what they saw. They remembered the whole obstacle course, drew it out.
They had all the cones. They had to start and finish. They drew all the things. They had the carpet where they were like 3 seconds on the card. They knew all the rules. They wrote all the rules on there. That was good stuff. I was like, oh, we're framing some of these.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. So I know we said something about Cooper. So that is probably what I want to dig in pretty deep with is what did you learn about Cooper? I know we learned about that he's harboring the deepest anxiety, but just some things that you can think of that's, I know I can think of a few that are just that he kind of just mellowed out, but maybe some turning points that you thought of with Coop.
I think watching my affection with him and not him being too needy with me, was a big deal. I mean, place for him is huge because, when I even started doing that at home, I remember, I'll never forget the video I sent you.
Well, I don't remember.
I had him in place in the yard, in the front yard, bigger distractions, but Cooper snuck off the place cot and was like flat out in the grass. But I thought, oh, that's so awesome. And you were like,
get him back on there.
Did he choose to go down there? I was like, yeah. And you were like, no, that's another sign of him, taking control of those choices and not, listening to what I'm asking. And so that's huge for him. So when I made that distinction with him and was like, this is where you're going to be, he was like, I really hurt his feelings.
Mother.
Yeah, he did not like that. Hard time with that. And just practice and practice and practice. That's just, made it even better.
I love it. Yeah, it's and that's a really good one there is if you ask your dog to sit on the cot and then they move right next to it and lay right next to it. They can have time to lay in that spot all you want. make sure to put some time aside to have them lay in the grass, to let them lay on the tile that they like. I mean, because you're watching, right? But um, them choosing, because putting them on places like, hey, buddy, this is really important to me. I just need you to sit on this exact spot for X amount of time. And it could be from, few minutes to an hour or more. And then being like, oh, that's fine. She loves it when I do this, and then lay right next to it. And then we think, oh, it's fine. It's right next to it. It's fine. What's the difference? It's a big distinction when it comes to your dog judging the things that you care about and the things you don't care about. It's just little fine lines, tiny little lines. There's tiny little lines. They're watching you. There's that scorecard, they're watching you and being like, well, last Tuesday, remember I was allowed to lay on the tile and you didn't say anything. So I'm going to do that a lot. I'm going to do that every time. And then suddenly, when you want to put them out in the world in that situation, and you need them to stay because there's cars or there's people or there's whatever, there's dogs, whatever the situation is, and you need them to just be chill, they're like, well, there was that one Tuesday that I didn't have to do it in the house. And they're paying attention for sure. Alex says, so cool. Cooper is amazing. Love that he's helping with all the kids. Yes, Alex, you would have loved the teaching. You'll have to come. See, and Noelle could have done it. We just know because none of the kids are meeting the dogs.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. And she's a special little one, that Noelle. And Cooper is so special, and I love that he grew so much from all your hard work. And now that he helps all the kids at school, the littles at school. That was Kristen. Yeah, we are so proud of you and Cooper. We're like you're our little role model, like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Okay, so we talked about Charlie, we got reactivity. So how's Charlie's reactivity going? I know we're about to kind of dive back into a little there, because I think in the beginning we kind of paused on it because it's not, Charlie's already 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not something that she's got some friends. She's not reactive out in the world, really.
Yeah,
We're not looking for her to have every dog, be with every dog. So yeah.
She is great. Like, I couldn't be more proud of her. I mean, now we know if we want to go take her to a restaurant and eat outdoor dining, she can do it. If we want to walk out to the pier, public places, she can do it. Before, the program and being 2 years into it with her, we would have never taken her to a lot of those places, just because we were afraid to be embarrassed of her unpredictability kind of thing. But
and it's a liability. Let's get really serious with it. Like, if you have a reactive dog, there's a chance of them biting.
Yeah.
And then to be out in public and it be so chaotic, having a aggressive dog myself, I understand it is like, that's a big liability. You better hope that the person that they bite or the dog that they bite and the person that owns them is super nice.
Yeah.
And doesn't want to sue the crap out of you. It's like, man, nowadays, I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah.
And it makes you like, hide your dog, like, get away from me, society. So it's really like teaching, so Charlie has gotten really good at being around the coworkers she likes now.
Yes.
And now she's even getting better at being around the coworkers that are, you know what I mean? And because I haven't seen her react in quite a while. And that's the key, is first stage is getting along with the coworkers that aren't jerk faces. And then, because the dogs that are reacting, they're not wrong. That's a really important piece to remember about it. They're not lying. They're not wrong. They're not crazy. They're dead on. They see and feel things that are in those dogs walking by that we can't. That, mild looking lab that in their head is like, but you can't see it because you just kind of see a wiggly dog. But Charlie sees like, you see that dog? See that dog? Yeah, I see it because it matches Charlie, like Charlie's thinking that way, like who's going, and it just kind of, it's funny because it'll be a dog or a little dog, you know, little dogs are usually jerk faces because people can pick them up. So they can just do, like you said, what you allow, you train, you can just do whatever. Hey, puppy, just do whatever. I just pick you up. So it's really neat to see. And it's kind of comforting to know that your dog's not wrong. He's right. He's judging those dogs and he is right. He is dead on. That dog's got some problems and I'm going to tell my mom about it. And that dog needs some problems. But we're just getting them to tolerate that. Like, yeah, that dog's got some problems, and that goes into like the flight, fight, avoidance, acceptance. So, Charlie probably might not have ever been in flight, right? She might have, but she's kind of a little tough girl. So she probably went right to fight and now is in at one stage just avoidance. Like, so the dogs are over the top, she's probably avoiding. And then the dogs that are calm, she's into acceptance with them. So it's really neat to watch the dogs go through that process. And now, we talked about Cooper. So tell us about the newest edition, because you had all this going on. You had a pain point. That's the interesting thing about your story, is that you had a pain point that was high enough for you to grasp some of this stuff that I'm like always so desperate to get into the happy lab society of the world, because I'm a lab lover and I am destined to make the labs in our group like the most kick-ass dogs ever, because they fall through the loop, where they're the good dog and they got all that anxiety, separation anxiety, or whatever it may be, and now tell us about Mr. Colby. How old is Colby now? 8 months, right?
8 months.
8 months now.
So we got him at the end of May. I think it was the last weekend in May this year. And I'll tell you, so I was off work for June and July because I'm a teacher. And the month of June, I probably had the biggest puppy blues and puppy regret, because we brought him home and the dogs were indifferent. Like they didn't want anything to do with them. The cats were ticked off. One cat hid for weeks and the other cat was mad. And it was like, what have I done? We had a good thing going and now I'm committed. Stacy and I are committed, and I just dug deep, and we dug deep, and I had on my phone, you should see the notes I have of raising him. I had this whole schedule, and you would text me make sure you're doing this and this and this with him, and I'm like, I'm on it. We're gonna.
You were like, oh my God, I don't want to mess this one up.
Yeah, I was so. But you always said what we didn't catch, which was very comforting. You always said whatever I didn't catch, we would catch later and we would fix it later. So I'm like, okay, well, because you're never going to get it all.
You can't. It's like throwing up a bunch of balls, just like kids, right? And then you're trying to catch them all. You catch as many as you can, but a couple of them are going to fall. And they were just kind of reach over and pick it up. Oh my God, you were on fire.
Well, it was, your mottos, everything matters and dogs keep score, would just repeat in my brain. So as I'm watching him and doing these things, we hand fed him for probably the 2-3 months. I fed him by hand. and just built the relationship. I sit on the kitchen floor and would lure him and, do all these things. And it was either the bucket or hand feeding. And that's, to this day, he doesn't have a dog bowl. It's just so funny.
You're making me excited, super excited. That is like, that's my preach. It's the easiest thing to do. And you know who does it? Nobody.
Yeah.
Chad's in the back. He says, I do it. He does it. He does.
Yeah. So I did. I would ration out his meals, and throughout the whole day, I never gave him, we didn't do dog treats for months. I don't know, maybe he was like 5 months old before we started dog treats, because it was just all his food, and every opportunity I was training with the food.
Probably saved you some money.
And it was insane. I mean, it's just crazy of that. And I think that helped them. The other, I cannot tell you, the biggest thing was protecting Charlie and Cooper's space, which before I didn't think it mattered. Like, dogs can handle themselves. Dogs can, sort it out. Well, I've learned that.
Puppies are annoying.
Yeah. So Colby was never allowed to crawl on them when they were sleeping, try to snuggle with them. So he was either in the crate, place, tied back, or leash dragging, or he was on the leash. So he never learned to chase the cats, because he couldn't.
Yeah.
We would never let him, climb on Charlie and Cooper. And that was key, because Charlie and Cooper, they were indifferent. They weren't mean to them, or, there wasn't issues, but they just didn't want anything to do with them. So Colby learned not to bother them. And then once Colby started getting bigger, then we started noticing like more natural play, that was both of them.
Them wanting it.
Yeah. So then it was like, okay. And then now that he's 8 months and he's a big dog, now it's about just controlling the play. And I love the pressuring, we do that, and we stop the play when it gets to be too much, or just because, and that's key. We just don't allow it to be a free-for-all. So it's made such a huge difference.
Yeah, it's not that they can't play. It's not that they can't be together. It's not that they can't. And I love that you advocated for Charlie and Coop, because people think they bring a puppy home and their older dogs should just love that you brought this puppy home. Well, puppies are really annoying to older dogs, and it doesn't have to be an older dog. Even Casper and Moki and Luna are only 3-4 years old, and they're like, yeah, they, when the dog's a little older, that's fine. But when it's just like, oh, puppy, it's got to be the right dog that likes that. And you know what? Because a puppy doesn't know that a dog's weird. So if a weird dog is playing with a puppy, it's kind of sweet. And then it's also like, well, that puppy doesn't have any marbles yet to know that all the energy that that dog is giving off is not good. It's, they're little bananas. So it's like, is it play? It is. But it's like, oh, is it? Is the dog choosing it, right? Or is the dog just a little bananas? And that's usually the banana part, where it's not, puppy just doesn't know. Or if you got, it's like, that's not fair. The puppy just doesn't even know that you're like a complete weirdo and putting off all these crazy vibes. And now we're putting those vibes on the puppy. And now the puppy plays weird because they learned to play from a weird dog. So it's like, now it's this big loop that you're setting in. So because you shielded him from their style of play, where they're still learning how to play, like they were playing wild when they were young, and they don't have a lot of friends that they play with. Like if Charlie's playing, Cooper will be like,
Yeah.
and want to go hump somebody and end it, or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's like, yay, I have feelings about this. So
Mhm.
that, that was me showing Kelly like to watch for those kind of things, and then guard Colby from some of that while he's a impressionable. So when you got him as a baby, it's like, yeah, you kind of shield him from that, and then keep an eye, because they'll duplicate. You'll get a third one, you'll get a third anxiety bust, but because you did so much work on that confidence end, it's going to be really pretty to watch him become a therapy dog.
Hopefully. Yeah. And with puppies, they change week to week, month to month, like his things he might be nervous or afraid of one week, the next week it's something different, and that thing doesn't bother him anymore. It's
Yeah.
been neat to see him progress in those ways. Like, big trucks and that he used to get nervous. Now he could care less. But somebody was getting their roof done and the nail guns, and he didn't like that. So you never know, because you can't expose them to it all. But
Right. But as you're finding that stuff, you're taking advantage of it and using it as an opportunity for him to be around. So everybody knows, like when she sees somebody working on the house with a nail gun, and she's walking by, she takes the opportunity to sit and chill, or does some work, or keeps walking around, and lets Colby work through it until he's settled there. And then that's just another one on the list, on your scoreboard. We can thank Mike for those sayings, because he's in marketing of some sort, and he always says back to me the things that I always say. So he helps me pull out sayings from my sayings. And so it's pretty neat how the community works like that. So I love that they stick with you. So that means he's good at his job. We have our own marketer. I love it. And I love the journey you're even getting to raise a puppy before I do, right? Like I've learned all this stuff, but Moki's not a puppy. It's not a puppy raising. So it's really neat to watch the puppies grow into this like crazy calm demeanor right off the bat, and then it's just building on from there. You can't even, the foundation is so solid, it's ridiculous, the confidence and the relaxedness and the capability of going anywhere and just chilling out, and it just be like, this is what we do, whatever.
Well, I never knew like the expectation could be that a puppy could just chill, and a puppy could be tied back and held accountable to lay somewhere without any entertainment or anything, and just be there until Colby, and we made him do it. And I just thought, oh, puppies need to play, and they need to get their energy out, and they need to be active. And he's raised totally different. Like the dude like sleeps so much. Like I don't know if it's his genetics or what, but
I don't think so. I think that's part of his job, that when you talk about energy, that's a good one to cover. Like when puppies are playing, they're giving out physical energy, a little bit of mental energy. But when we're doing the exercises, like she mentioned, the tie back, we're draining mental energy. We're using the mental energy like, man, why did my monkey tie me to this thing? And why do we tether, right? Tethering is tying the dog back. Well, when we have the dog on the leash to us, that is tethering. It's tethered to you. You just happen to be holding the leash, or you could tie it to your belt. So we want to teach the dog to not pull when it's tethered to something, whether it be us or the door. So if we could tie him to a door or something strong, the end of a couch leg, something like that, tree outside, you can do it when you're weeding the yard, whatever. It's teaching the dog, especially a puppy, to just chill out. If you're tied to something, just means chill out. no pulling, no whining, no causing, having a complete meltdown, any of that. And it's waiting some of that stuff out. Man, it goes far. It
And
goes
we had moments where we really had to wait him out. I mean, and he was itty bitty. He was 10, 11 weeks old, and we were tying him back, and he was pitching a fit, and it was 8, 9 o'clock at night, and we're both like tired, and I'm like, we got to ride this out, and but it paid in dividends. I mean, to
later.
get us to where we are now with him.
Yeah, because if you tie the puppy back and then they are crying and whining, usually, especially if you start young, they don't have a tight grip on their anxiety. They're
Yeah.
not like a 10-year-old dog, a 5-year-old dog. They're in a really deep relationship with their anxiety. So they're holding on to it like with both hands, like they're not letting go. Where a puppy doesn't know any better or any different. So it's what you create, right? It's what you allow, is what you train. So you're teaching him to just go with it. So most puppies will pitch a fit. And I like to think of a kid in a store that is giving you the business for not buying a candy bar, and if you go buy that candy bar, you're on the hook forever. You remember that Tuesday you bought me a candy bar? I know that I can get one again if I throw myself on the floor and cause a big enough scene, right? So like dogs will go to great lengths, especially if they do it and it works once. They're going to be like, I'm going to pull out all the stops, especially like, oh, that didn't work this time again. Watch this, and they're going to pull out barking, going bananas, getting tied up in the leash, going crazy. And you just got to go get them unraveled, let them do it again. I think you were tying them to like a barbell, right? Yeah. Didn't he get big enough to pull it across the room?
Yeah, he eventually did. Then I put two together.
I love it, dude. That was great. It's really neat to see Colby come into some of the advanced classes and already be kicking butt. So, and that doesn't just happen. You don't just bring an 8-month-old dog in and be doing some of the big exercises where we'll drop the leash and walk away. And Kelly's starting to do some of the exercises because she practices all the time. She's been practicing for years with all the dogs. So, it's second nature to her because she's already done the exercises. Now that she's done the puppy stuff, she can get into the stuff that she already knew before. So it's really neat to watch.
Yeah, but he's getting into, even though he was neutered very young, he's getting into a little bit of adolescence. So so we're seeing that shift a little bit. That
like he's coming into puberty.
Yeah, that independence now. He's done with the puppy
Teenagers.
Yeah, so his nose gets the better of him.
Right. Kelly's got hound dogs. Hound dogs. So yeah, they're definitely liking to smell.
Yeah, so but yeah, so there's always something. Like I left this morning and I brought Cooper came to school, and Colby was downstairs by the gate, and he got a little whiny as we were leaving, and I was like, oh, that's something to work on. So yeah, but
I love that you're seeing the opportunities, and that's a big deal about class, is taking the things that you learn in class and that we maybe do in a home session, and we talk, when we see each other at class or walks or whatever, and we come up with those little opportunities. And the more that we find them together, the more it opens your mind up to see them on your own. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things, is when someone finds an opportunity on their own and tells me about it. And I'm like, yeah, that I had nothing to do with, it's like, yes, that's good stuff. Sandy says she's very impressed on how well you were doing with all 3 dogs. I don't know Colby, but I've seen Charlie and Cooper, and they were very well behaved. Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
well,
And
thank
Emily
you.
says, thanks for being the guinea pig for getting a puppy for all of us, so we can we can see if it pays off, and we'll all be okay. That was
Well,
Emily.
we all can blame Julie for, I can.
Seriously, she's a pusher, man.
She is, but I couldn't be. We're so thankful we have Colby. So
Yes, and I love Byron and Gracie. They're just ridiculously cute and great. She's got a great little trio. But yeah, and it's funny because when there's one that looks like one of hers, that's one. Oh, this one looks like this dog. This one looks like this dog. Like, look, she's laughing. We love you, Julie. You pusher, you puppy pusher.
right.
Okay, so it's 8:30. Let's do our last question. So if you had to tell someone that was coming into class, or they came to watch a class, or they're seeing videos and they're thinking about coming, but they thought, my dog is going to disrupt that whole class, I can't go, what would you tell
Just do it, and just come, be open-minded, and observe. And if you don't want to bring your dog at first, just come sit and listen and talk to people. The community is the best. And I have wonderful friends because of this community. And Charlie has wonderful dog friends because of this
them?
community. And, it's such a safe place, such a supportive place. So I think people just have to be willing to give it a go.
Chance. Yeah, I think so too. I think it's become something that I could have never imagined, the depth that the tribe and the community has come into. It's it's not only given everybody, like everybody feels like they have a safe space, but I think it gave me a safe space to grow and to develop the business and to make it, you know, unknowingly, this community is just an amazing place. And I think because we all have to come out to the park, we're getting the same kind of people that like to do things with their dogs. They're good hearted, they're just outgoing, and it's insane the depth of how cool everybody is in the community. It's insane, and
It
maybe I'm
is.
just biased, but
No, it's so true.
it's true. And Alex says, you push her. Julie Volkman needs to start a matching dog service at this point. Yes, your dog's matching service, matchmaking, the tribe, Emily. Well, thank you, Kelly. Up, Alex Buing. Someone's got to do it, Julie says. You're right. I think you're the next rescue. You got
Yeah,
to get
she
Julie
is.
her rescue thing. She's going to be the rescue person.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Kelly. We really loved
Thank
having you.
guys.
And I'll see you don't forget, everybody, Christmas pictures tomorrow, 9 a.m. at Demon's Landing. We also have December 2nd, and Santa will be there. He's waiting. All right, Kelly, bye.
Good night.
Thanks.